Welcome to this week's episode of Live with Heather Vickery. I'm your host, Heather Vickery. I missed you all last week. It was Thanksgiving here in the United States, and I was traveling. For those of you who are new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I come on every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central to share one new way that you can build a life of ease, be successful with ease, lead with more embodied joy, feel good about your life, go from pressure filled to pleasure filled, all of that. I do that by helping you deeply and completely learn to know, like, and trust yourself, and then unwire all the bullshit that society's put on you so that you can actually have a life that you love. I do that with NLP, human design, subconscious reprogramming, all kinds of wonderful things just like that. And today's topic is a really special one. It's about learning to not give a shit if people understand you or not, if they get you or not. And listen, it is important, I know, to have community, to be connected, to feel like we are part of something bigger than ourselves. But in the effort to do that, there are going to be plenty of times where you don't feel understood by somebody else. And we need to learn to disseminate the difference between when that's important and when it's not important. As somebody who I'm a projector in human design, I didn't have that language when I was younger, but I learned very quickly out of college that while I worked well with people, I didn't work well for them. I didn't do well with schedules. I certainly don't do well with bosses. Just ask my partner. I don't like to be told what to do. You can ask my kids that too. Like, I do not like to be told what to do. I like to be supportive and connected, but I am not good with being directed at. And so I somehow sort of carved out a life for myself that worked for me by owning my own business, building my own schedule, managing my expectations, setting strong boundaries, communicating really clearly, all of that. And I did that a long time ago before I actually had the language for it, before I really understood it. And when I was doing this 15, 20 years ago, people really thought I was crazy. And often they still think I'm crazy, right? I don't do life and business the way other people do life and business. And it used to bother me a lot. It used to really trouble me when people judged me or didn't understand my process or thought that I wasn't very good at what I did because of how I did it. And it's taken me a long, long time to let that go and to lean into trusting that I'm the only one that needs to understand my path, not anybody else. I'm the only one that needs to do that. And eventually, it has allowed me to recognize when people who I don't align with don't understand me, that actually is a sign that I'm doing it right for myself. It's actually a sign that things are working well for me. That openness is what helps me create a space for all sorts of people who are often misunderstood. You can build a life the way you want. You can build your world the way you want. Maybe you have a regular 9 to 5 job and you can't build your schedule the way that I do, but how can you carve out what's for you in that space? And that's what I help people do with my ease pathway is by getting to exploring who you are, what you want, where you want to go in life, how you want to feel in these moments in your life. And then we align. We get rid of, start shifting the things that you don't want, that don't serve you, getting a lot of really good clarity on what is going to feel good and fit and work for you, having that alignment, and then shifting and sustaining, using all sorts of amazing tools and resources to help you shift and sustain so that you can have this life of ease because you are worthy of a life with ease. And when you do all of those things, then you are able to embody expansion in a bigger way. You can actually hold more and it feels like you're carrying less. Who's excited about that concept? Holding more and it feels like you're carrying less. The truth is that you're the only one that can ever be an expert on you. And I want to help you discover yourself so that you can be that expert on you. Now, allowing yourself to be okay with being misunderstood is a bit of a power play. And it's much easier to accept other people, be accepting, be loving, be affirming, don't judge. It's much easier to do that with other people than it is to do it with ourselves. So when I sent out my original newsletter and blog post for this week's topic, a former client friend of mine said, "Is this new for you, Heather? Because you're so loving and accepting of other people. I just figured you'd been down this path forever." And so I appreciated that question. And I said, "No, it's not new for me, but there is an ever evolving state of what it actually feels like and looks like to truly not care about what other people think of you or your choices, being untethered from those expectations, those societal standards that everyone has put on you." So, no, it's not new, but it is constantly evolving. Somewhere along the way, I realized that holding on to what other people's expectations of who and how I should be in the world was keeping me small. It was keeping me in a shame spiral. It was keeping me stuck. And so then I started asking myself some really intense and thoughtful questions. And awareness is the key to all change, right? Awareness is what changes it. And you don't become aware unless you pause and you reflect and you get introspective. And through doing that, I would say, does it really matter to me? Like, why does it matter to me what this person thinks? Does it have an impact on me? Does it change anything? Does it shift anything? Does it make me, is it really worthy of being different? In most situations, that answer is no for me. It doesn't. And sometimes it's valuable to explain myself, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's okay to let people ride off into the wilderness, not understanding me. I don't need everybody to understand me. I need to understand me, and I need the people that I can serve and support and help to understand me. Even with my kids, who I adore with my whole heart, it would be lovely if they understood me better, but I don't need them to. And I actually think as they grow older, they will understand more and more. What I want them to experience, though, is seeing me be my truest, most aligned, authentic self, standing up for myself, setting boundaries, asking for what I want, saying yes, saying no, and living a life in a way that feels good to me and being successful doing it. They don't need to understand it. They can see it and then they can find it for themselves, because remember that success is self-defined and ease is self-defined. What feels easy for you might not feel easy for somebody else. And going through this path, it it's very simple. They're very simple concepts, but they're not easy to do. But the result is success with ease. It's joy with ease. It's peace with ease. You get to have this if you want it. And I find for me that most folks who don't understand or don't even want to understand or are frustrated by or somehow really bothered by the way I run my business, the way I choose to live my life, the way I choose to lead with joy, lead with ease, lead with gratitude, look for what's working for me instead of the negative, all of that. Those folks tend to be living by old codes, what I'm going to call old patriarchal codes. They are living by rules that somebody old and unaligned and not them set up. And I just am here to tell you, you don't have to live by those rules. You don't have to accept those things. They don't have to be yours. You don't have to be understood by everybody. You have to be understood by yourself. And I no longer apologize for that. I don't get worked up about much anymore. I really don't. Not because I'm heartless or because I'm unfeeling, not because I'm detached, but because I finally understand that my energy isn't free and it isn't meant to be spent carelessly. And I don't need to put my energy towards being understood by other people. Now, this is interesting because when it comes to like I own my own business, I have to market my own things. I've been spending the last couple of days reworking my website to um, be more clear and concrete on the ease pathway, which is my signature system for helping people go from where they are to where they want to be and be successful with ease. I'm building that into my website right now. I'm building it into my Costa Rica retreat. There's still a couple spots left. If you want to go to Costa Rica in January, let me know. We still have some space. It's going to be amazing. But all of that old programming comes up for me when I am starting to market my stuff. What if people don't like it? What if they don't understand? What if I'm not clear? Blah, 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 all of that stuff. And really, this year for me has been a lot about letting my freak flag fly, putting it out there. My work is where woo and spirituality meet science. This shit is all science backed, but it sounds metaphysical and woo woo and spiritual. And it is. And I love that. And that feels good. And I'm big into intuition. And I help my clients understand their own inner voice and inner authority and intuition and really lean with that. We do somatic practices and NLP practices to connect with yourself, to understand yourself, to unwire bullshit that is in your way and repattern on the things that you do want and desire, ways that you want to be and behave. And so I have decided to really put that out there in my marketing and in my website. And if people don't like it, or if they don't understand it, they're not for me. And that's okay. Now, that's not always an easy thing to do or say, but you can work your way up there. You can get there. And that's what I hope people do. And so I invite you today to think about uh, what areas in your life, who are the people in your life that you're constantly trying to justify who and how you are to, and how can you shift that? What would it be like if you stopped doing that? What would it feel like if you decided it was okay for them to not understand? Once you realize that you don't need to be understood by everyone, you finally become available to yourself. And here's what's really fascinating. I have found that, we can't change anyone but ourselves, but when we change ourselves, the people around us change. That's just the laws of physics. It's just the way things work, right? And so when you create more space to be available to yourself, that's when expansion begins. And that's when you really start showing up for yourself. This is actually the work that I do all day with people. Um, and if you're questioning this, if you're curious and you want to know more, make sure you're joining me on Thursdays, just like this, or come on Tuesday to Ask Me Anything office hours, where we can learn more. You can share some of your own personal experiences. Um, I want to remind you that you don't have to live by everybody else's old rules and expectations. You get to choose your way forward, one that honors you, one that feels like truth, one that makes room for your whole self because you deserve that, because you are worthy of that. And I want that for you. So I always like to, I'm so glad for those of you that are here. I appreciate you. I've shifted into, I've been doing this for several weeks now, doing a guided EFT tapping to help you connect with the message that I'm sharing in the weekly live show. So we're going to do a guided EFT tapping now for releasing the fear of being misunderstood. And I want you to start by making sure your feet are firmly planted on the ground and feel that support beneath you. If you're sitting, just kind of rock your sits bone, feel yourself sitting in your seat. This is a great time to roll your shoulders. These are things that we can do easily all the time and we forget. Roll your neck, right? Moving your body with intention connects you with your body with intention. When you are connected with your body intentionally, you can hear the messages that are meant for you. You can really feel them. Now, I want you to take a big deep breath in through your nose and out with a sigh. I always start my EFT tapping meditations with a Ho'oponopono prayer. Most people don't, but if you're in space with me, we always do. So, left hand over your heart, right hand over your left, repeating after me, either out loud or in your mind. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. This is a beautiful prayer for yourself, from yourself to yourself. Whisper it into your water and then consume it all day. Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. Into your coffee. Consume kindness towards yourself. Self-compassion changes the game. So for those of you who are new, EFT tapping is emotional freedom technique. We're tapping on all of the different meridian points. I'm going to guide you through it. If you want to know more, you can certainly go to Substack and check out the series I've been doing with my friend Rose Perry this week. Yesterday, I talked a lot about EFT tapping and we did it. And I even explained how each meridian point is connected to a different organ in your body. It's really cool stuff. Or join me for Tuesdays Ask Me Anything office hours, or decide to work with me and we can create custom scripts just for you. So we start on the karate chop point. You can use either hand. This is where we speak the truth, the sometimes ugly message that we don't want to be true. So I want you to repeat after me, either out loud or in your mind. Even though part of me feels upset when I'm misunderstood, I honor how far I've come. Even though I'm learning to trust myself and release old expectations, I'm open to feeling grounded in who I am in this moment. Even though it's easy to take other people's perspective personally, I choose to know my own worth and trust my own truth. Let me move to the inner eyebrow. You can do one side or the other or both. I've spent so long trying to be understood and accepted. I used to twist myself into shapes that were never meant for me. Moving to the side of the eye. I now see how much of that came from old stories, stories that were never mine to carry. Under the eye, I'm learning to stand in the truth of who I am and how I am without apology or exception. And I honor that steady, brave growth. Under the nose, it feels safe to acknowledge how different I am. It's safe to acknowledge that not everyone will understand me. Under the mouth, it even feels safe to recognize that other people's misunderstanding is not my responsibility. Collarbone. Other people can have their opinions. It doesn't inform me. I know who I am. I know how I am. It's safe to myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Under the arm, you can do one side, the other, or beside the other, both. I give myself permission to be misunderstood as long as I understand myself. Top of the head. I trust myself. I honor my journey. I release the need to be understood by others. I choose alignment, clarity, and embodied self trust. You can gently stop tapping. Take a big deep breath in, release, and that calm confidence you're feeling in your body right now, just settle in with that and let it be true. And find ways to remind yourself as you're moving through your day that you are just right, that you are exactly as you were intended to be. I hope that this has been helpful to you. It's been a kind of a short live show for us today. Thanks to everybody who joined us. I'm feeling super, super tired. I hope that wasn't really obvious to you guys, but I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna need a power nap before my coaching client. One thing I do want to share with you though is the clock is running out on registration for the Costa Rica retreat. So I am taking an incredible group of humans to the Costa Rican jungle. We're going to be at the Emaloa Institute. It is literally luxury dropped in the middle of the jungle. All of the accommodations are unique. They're all private and they're so special and gorgeous and luxurious. And we're going to be reclaiming our peace in this week, nurtured and loved and supported and cared for and held. How often are you the one that gets to be nurtured, supported, cared for, and held versus being the one who does that thing? This is 6 days to be still, to rest, to nurture and rejuvenate, to reclaim your peace, to discover your inner voice and your intuition. I'll be guiding folks through somatic movement every day. We'll do group hypnotherapy and EFT tapping. I have indigenous practitioners coming to do sound bath, cacao ceremony, blue clay ceremony. That was probably my favorite thing. The blue clay was just incredible when I did it. Truly transformative, beautiful experience. We're going to be nurtured with anti-inflammatory, gluten-free, plant-based, dairy-free food that is delicious. I've traveled the world and it's some of the most delicious food I've ever tasted. And I am not a plant-based eater at home. Absolutely delightful experience. Mostly, though, we're building this gorgeous space and time for you to be you, for you to step away from all of it, to nurture yourself, to rest, to take a break. And if your heart is saying, yes, 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 I need this, there are only a couple of spots left. So go to the link in my bio, gather all the information, or send me a DM, or send me an email or a message, and I will fill you in on all of those details because we would love, love, love to have you with us. If there is anything at all that you need, oh, I have a question. I've never actually seen that I can get questions from from Riverside before. I'm so glad. Just Megan. Is there a specific tapping rhythm that you're doing? So I'm not sure that I understand that question, Megan. You always follow the path, although some people will, after they do the karate chop, they'll start on the head, but most people, my training has us ending on the head. So I am EFT certified. So we always start on the karate chop to release the negative, and then we move through all of the different points. You want to make sure that you're tapping 7 to 10 times at each spot. So pausing is important. You don't necessarily have to be repeating the affirmations the whole time. One of my favorite things to do is you can just tap in positive affirmations. If you find yourself really overwhelmed or stressed, one of the best things that you can do is to just separate yourself from wherever you are, take a deep breath, and then go through the tapping points. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Doing that will create a shift, an energetic shift. It will stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. It will calm you down. It will shift you out of one way of being and into another that feels safer for your body. So I'm not sure, Megan, that did I get your question answer? You said thank you. So the rhythm is such that you just want to follow those patterns and you want to make sure you're tapping at least 7 to 10 times. You can keep doing it until you feel better. When I work one-on-one with clients, sometimes we do what we call tapping to zero. So let's say they're feeling really, really anxious about something specific. And that is that they're feeling that at like a 10, we'll tap through until they get to zero. And I just guide that intuitively. So it's one of the things that we do in the Mind Shift Mastery, or in a subconscious shift session. And certainly we'll be helping folks with that at the Costa Rica retreat if they need that or want that as well. So thank you so much for asking the question. I appreciate that. I love it when you guys have questions. Just say, oh, I perked up when there was a question. It's really nice to have the engagement, just like everybody else. I don't mind being misunderstood, but if you're in my space with me, it's really lovely to know that I can engage with you directly. So I am going to say farewell for now. Again, feel free to join me on Tuesday for Asking Office Hours. Those links are in my bio. Come back next Thursday for a brand new episode of Live with Heather Vickery. And if you haven't caught my Year End Alchemy series on Substack, go and check it out. Tomorrow's our last day. My friend Rhodes and I have been live every day at 10 a.m. Central for about 45 minutes, but you can catch all of those replays. We're doing actual embodiment practices every single day that you can do. It's all free. You don't have to register. You don't have to sign up. So go over to Substack and check all of those out. Come and connect in other ways. And let me know if there's ever anything I can do to support you, because you deserve to feel good with ease. You deserve to be successful with ease. You are worthy of ease, my love. You are worthy of ease. It doesn't have to be so hard. You can move from pressure filled to pleasure filled. And I would love to be part of that journey for you. My name is Heather Vickery. Thank you so much. I'm going to remind you today and every day to choose yourself bravely, because you have to choose yourself first. That's the most important thing. Take care. Thanks so much. I'll talk to y'all soon.